If you're somebody who struggled with setbacks in your fitness journey, maybe you've lost a loved one or you've just fallen off track sometimes due to life, and you often wonder, how am I supposed to keep everything together and still get my workouts and still stay consistent when life around me is crazy? Well, this episode of the Eric Roberts Fitness Podcast is going to be for you. I sit down with one of my assistant coaches, Judy, and her client, Megan. And Megan, as you will hear, has gone through some pretty serious and, potentially traumatic life experiences that are very serious. And in this podcast, she so eloquently talks about how she's been able to navigate those setbacks and life experiences that have been incredibly difficult for her, not only from reflecting on it now, kind of looking back and seeing where she's at, but she also gives a ton of practical advice on how exactly what she does to navigate through those hard, difficult times when she's not motivated. Because let's be honest, it's easy to stay on track when you're motivated. It's easy to stay on track when you're having great times. But when in between your ears, it's getting crazy and you're having these talks about, I don't want to stay consistent today. And how am I going to do this? I should just quit. I should just stop. She talks about how to navigate those. And I think it's going to be really, really impactful for you. This podcast is not just about the macros and the workouts and the fat loss. And don't get me wrong, she's made a ton of fat loss progress and Megan is very strong in the gym now. But this podcast really focuses on what goes on in between your ears, which is the number one reason and the number one thing people need to improve if they truly want to not just lose fat and change their lifestyle, but keep it that way forever. So I hope you enjoy this episode. And really quickly, today's Monday, as you're hearing this, our enrollment for our 8-week challenge is officially live. You can pause this podcast, click the link in the show notes of the podcast to learn more about our 8-week challenge. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, I encourage you to listen to some of the last week's episodes. Just by the way, last week's episodes were really good, just like this episode is going to be really good. But we talk about the 8-week challenge and what you get. You'll get personalized workouts, you'll get personalized nutrition guidelines, you'll get paired up with a coach on my team. And if you're someone who listens to the podcast and you hear me bring my coaches on and bring all of our clients on, like, that could be you. That could be you, but you playing. Remember that song? But for real, join the 8-week challenge. Enrollment closes either when we sell out or on January 10th, whichever one of those happens first. So don't miss your opportunity. Don't waste your time. Don't wait any longer. Click the link below to join our 8-week challenge. And I really hope you enjoy the podcast. We're going to record, get rocking and rolling. Megan is in the waiting room. We're going to get her ass in here. I'm all Clubhouse branded today. What's up, Megan? How are you?
Here. Good. How are you?
We're doing, now that you're here. I mean, listen, Judy is like just incredible, so I'm always happy to see her. But now that you're here, it's like double whammy. We're so stoked to have you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. You do anything crazy?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
I
Did
did
you at
stay
least
up
stay
till
up?
I did
Okay.
stay up. And then I went to bed.
Nice. Okay. Well, that beats me. So, actually, I was awake when the ball dropped for Judy. So at like 6 p.m., I was awake, and so technically, I was awake when the ball drops. Did you stay up,
I
Judy, or
was
no?
not.
Okay.
So
Good. Yeah. No, I went to bed at like 9 p.m. I did a podcast with Sophie yesterday and she's like, I'm gonna stay up until like 4. I'm like, you do what? I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, man, girl, you are something crazy. So shout out to her. But that's cool. Anything fun planned today for you, Megan, or not really?
Not really. So I'm just getting over being sick. Yesterday was the first day where I felt half human again, thanks to my
Mm-hmm.
steroid pack.
Mm-hmm.
But today, and yesterday was the first day I didn't take a nap because being sick
That's
and whatnot.
big. Dude, yeah.
So today I'm gonna try to get a couple of things done. I go back to work tomorrow, but nothing
Mm-hmm.
big planned.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. All right.
Mhm.
You're a little sick as well, Judy?
actually, no.
Okay.
Everyone was sick before Christmas. Like Christian got sick, my mom and dad got sick, my grandma got sick. We had to take her to the hospital. Everyone got sick except Judy. So
Judy is
I'm
healthy.
I think it's the vegetables, but
Like subtle
You might be
flex, no
onto
big deal.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, subtle flex. That's awesome. I was sick for a little bit, only like 1 or 2 days, and like I was able to get over it quickly. But that's cool, dude. Well, listen, Megan, we are super excited to have you on, and can't think of a better way to start the new year than to have this chat and have this conversation. And like June and I were talking really quickly beforehand, and she was like, yeah, like she's done a lot and she's really young, and then she's like, wait a minute, she's your age, like I guess, like so.
Now hold on.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's
Oh,
good, that means we're young,
yeah.
Megan. But dude, yeah, so let's just kind of let's dive right into it. So like I always like doing, I mean, these are my favorite podcasts that I do. I love our podcast as well, Sophie, when you listen, but these are my favorite podcasts because I love hearing the story, right? And so I love hearing like the journey behind kind of like what led you here and why did you take this leap to sign up, and what have, your experience been like thus far. So I think you joined in August of 2024 in the clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That sounds correct.
That sounds about right. Judy told
Yeah.
me. So if Judy said it, it's right. It's right.
Yeah.
So okay. So and again, Judy and I were talking beforehand, and she was like, it seems like she's lived like multiple different lives within her 29 years of living life thus far. Because you've had, a lot of things happen in your life, and of course, during the whole podcast, you can share or
Yeah.
not share as much as you would like to, or not like to, but just kind of like give us the backstory a bit of like before August 2024 when you joined, like what was going on? What was going on in your life? How were you feeling physically? How were you feeling mentally? What kind of led you to say, you know what, I might want and need some help with this?
Real quick. I'm not
Please.
20, I'm not 29 yet. I'll be 29 in 29 days.
Ah, okay, okay. I'm sorry. That is me prematurely dating you. My bad,
It's all
Megan.
good.
Shit.
It's all
Okay,
good.
wonderful. All
That's hilarious.
right.
Um, so truly, I'm taking it back a few years.
Please.
Um, 2020, um, I wasn't very active. I'm just working and living like everyone else. But 2020, my fiance passed, and that freaking sucked. And then 2021, I was like, man, I feel like crap. I definitely look like crap. Um, None of my clothes are fitting anymore. Like, some something's up, something's wrong. And I was on TikTok just like everyone else. And I remember seeing like a few creators on TikTok. But I definitely didn't jump headfirst into anything in 2021. The first thing I started doing, I just started drinking water like it was my job. Like I carried a jug, and like one of my profile pictures, it's me and my jug. Um,
Love that.
the very first thing, I just drank a gallon of water every single day. And then I started moving more. And I like found these walk-in videos on YouTube that were really fun. And they might be 30 minutes long or an hour long, but they're like step videos, and they're playing music and they're cheering you on. And that was fun. And then I still didn't really, I knew that calorie deficit was important, and I gave some attention to that, but I didn't make it a priority. I think I think I practiced balance because at that time, because most days, I would like bring my meals to work or whatever, but I would definitely still like get with friends, and I'm like, I ordered pizza, come over. And that was like a balance thing. And that was healthy. I remember that being healthy. And then I did join a gym. And I was like, I actually did have another online trainer pre-ERF. And I- I'm gonna tell you right now, full transparency, it was just so expensive. And I'm like, man, this is another bill. Like, this is $3 signs. I'm like, I can't keep paying this.
Hmm.
So like me and him parted ways, and I tried to do my own thing, and I would, and then I'd fall off because that's really easy to do. And then in 2024, I think, you know, I knew that I knew of you in previous, like on Instagram or whatever, but in 2024, Eric Roberts Fitness kept popping up on my Facebook, and I'm like, let's see what this is about. This this guy's been around, and I always like really enjoyed your no nonsense, like straight to the, because
Hmm.
that's who you are. And I was like, let's see what this is about. So I joined the clubhouse, and the clubhouse welcomed me in. And I love the community that this place is. And the accountability is unmatched.
I love that. Let's go. So okay, it just and by the way, if you see me just like jotting down some notes, I like to take some notes during the pod. So it sounds like in 2021, you kind of knew like, hey, I should be making a change here. Like I don't like where I'm at, but you didn't go like what most people do. Like I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna change everything. I'm gonna like start the deficit, 10,000 steps, gym, work. It's like you said like I'm gonna drink water like it's my job. And it almost sounds like you took it kind of like one step at a time where it's like you felt comfortable with this. Cool, I'm gonna get this down, then I'll maybe add this a little bit as she drinks water right now, like it's her job.
I
So
have to.
I love that. No, I love it. So like, is that kind of the approach that you took? Was like, I'm gonna kind of get in control of maybe one or two things max at a time, and then kind of like add on from there.
Yeah, I think that's actually how it went. One thing at a time, and then somewhere along the way, um, you don't keep things a priority, or you start maybe starting down a path you shouldn't do, or learning those hard lessons. Because I did, I had a very brief, I'll call it partying, a very, very short-lived little partying thing where, oh, it's Friday, I'm going out with so and so, oh, we're drinking, we're out on the
Mm.
town. And that was very short-lived. Um,
Why was it so short-lived?
I had an experience that could have went other ways. I'll tell you. Definitely not embarrassed, I don't guess.
Yeah, and again, Megan, like be as transparent, like share as much as you'd like or not, like totally
For
up to you,
sure.
fully.
That's me always. Um, we were out drinking, and I have no idea how much I drank, but was drinking a lot and didn't stop. And at some point, I definitely blacked out. Like I was unconscious on the sidewalk. My friend was not there actually. The friend I was
Mm,
out with. Strangers found me.
mm,
Strangers checked on me, and strangers called 911.
mm.
And then Megan was in the hospital.
Wow. I didn't know this. How long were
Yeah.
you in the hospital for? Megan goes,
No.
yeah.
No, no, no. It wasn't like a hospital stay, but I was
Got it.
I was super intoxicated. And I was at the hospital to get checked out because initially I was unconscious. But you know, I wake up and my mom's there, and somebody called her, and she was freaking out because they were saying stuff like, okay, so apparently I did break a glass table. I fell on it or something, but I broke a glass table. And they were saying stuff like, oh, she's covered in blood, or you know, people were telling my mom stuff like that. So my mom is like, she probably thought worst case scenario, and she gets to me, and I'm just super uh
Hmm.
drunk. But thankfully, I didn't end up elsewhere, or I didn't end up in other situations. So I'm super thankful for, honestly, I'm thankful for that experience. Because you know, it was in that moment I was like, okay, that's not what friends do, and that's actually not the life that I want to live anymore. Um, that was huge.
Hmm. Go ahead, Judy.
No, that's a very, I know a lot about Megan. I'm not sure I know this one.
We're just putting it all out there
That's a typical rock bottom situation, right? I think we
for
all
sure.
have that. I think actually what I find interesting when you said, well, it was 2021 when you thought something had to change. That's also when I thought something had to change, and I joined the clubhouse in 2022. So I guess we were on a similar timeline there. We're hitting rock bottom, and then something needs to change, and then finding Eric.
hmm hmm Well, I
For
mean,
sure.
I think it's all the couple of things. Number one, it's you guys taking the action, which is like all of the credit goes to you. And then the couple other parts I think is like oftentimes it's funny you said you're kind of grateful for that experience because I mean, I've just seen this as a coach now for it'll be 10 years this year, which is crazy to say, but you almost kind of have to hit that rock bottom to really be like, okay, I'm gonna change. Whether it's you, whether it's a family member. We just had somebody sign up for our 8 week challenge who, unfortunately, he signed up because his father just had a heart attack and he's 330 pounds and he's like, I'm going down the same path if I don't get my shit together. And so I think we as humans, of course, I never want you to be in that situation, but I'm almost glad you did because it then leads you to actually take action. So I think that's huge as, one part of it. And then the second part is, again, I think just having that, okay, this happened now I'm going to actually like do something and take steps in the right direction. It's one thing to watch the videos. It's one
Yeah.
thing to like know, but like actually taking the action on it. And again, only you can do that, Megan. There's nobody else that can do that for you. And so again, it's a full credit to you. And I think people also it's like, oh, well, that happened to Megan. And like the next day she got her whole life together. It's like, no, like it's still yeah, I'm sure you took steps in the right direction, but it's still a process and it still takes time. I always refer it back to like getting stronger in the gym. Nobody goes into the gym and is lifting 10 pounds on side lateral raises, and then the next week they go to 100 pounds on side lateral raises. It never happens. It's a process of this change. And so I just want to say again, kudos to you for actually starting to take steps in that direction. And that's kind of like, I want to ask you, Judy, as kind of a segue or it kind of ties in. I think like we as coaches, we often see things in clients maybe even before they see it in themselves or they notice it in themselves. So when Megan kind of like first came into the clubhouse, first came into coaching, what were some of your like first impressions, first things that you started to see was like, man, she has this, or she's really good at this, or she's going to succeed at this because of this? Like, what were those first impressions?
Yeah, that feels like forever ago.
It does.
August 2024. Yeah, one thing that I do, I'm not even sure Megan knows how much I appreciate that about her, but is the taking action part because there's 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 this thing with you, Megan, that sometimes for days, sometimes weeks, you just go silent and you disappear. Like
Used to.
you
Used to.
used to, you used
That's true.
and you disappear, but and you might think that's a flaw, and I know that's something that you have been working on and you want to be more intentional about not disappearing, and several times I said to you, please do not disappear. But I actually think it's a good thing, and I don't think that any other of my clients is puts in this much like internal work as you are, because that's what you do when you disappear is you kind of um you don't like you don't talk to me, or you might not talk to your friends or family, but you contemplate and you think things through, and you think about the situation and you analyze and you assess, and then you come back to me. And you're not just like, "Hi, I'm back. What are we doing?" You're like, "Hi, I'm back, and this is what we're doing." You're
That's
always
true.
coming back with an action plan, and you always tell me, "This is what I'm going to do next. This is what I'm going to do every day from now on, and I'm going to message you, and I'm going to I have this calendar laid out, or I have a list, or I have a notebook and I'm writing things out. Like you always come back with a strategy. You never just come back and you're not like, "Hi, I disappeared for 3 weeks and help me." That never happened. You're more like, "I'm so sorry. I think this is what happened," and then you explain the situation to me, and you analyze the situation, and you kind of let me know like whatever went on, and then you come back with an action plan, and you've always done that, right? You don't disappear as much anymore, which I guess is progress, but also like I said, I don't think the the disappearing is a bad thing. It's more like a I'm taking some time for myself, I'm reflecting, I'm making a plan, and then I'll come back to Judy. And I very much appreciated that about you, and I always have. And another thing that stands out is we have tried a lot of things. Like we tried more like
It's
strict
true.
challenges. We tried not so strict challenges. We tried different game plans for different weeks. You were never, and you've never been afraid of trying something. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't work, we'll do something else. Right, because I think a lot of people think, well, my coach is just going to give me the answer. I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and everything will be fine. That is not how it works. We wish it worked like that. That would make our life much easier, but it's typically a trial and error. And you were never afraid to try something with me, see how it goes, and potentially adjust. And you would never be like, well, Judy, you said this works, but it doesn't work, so you suck. You never did that. So,
It's
yeah,
never Judy's fault.
sometimes yes, but mostly.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I think that like self-reflection, like I almost wrote like looking inwards sometimes. And I think a lot of people, if they ghost, right? This is like in the coaching world, we're like, oh, they ghosted us. But it's like they ghost and they go down this cycle of like, well, now I feel guilty. And now I'm doing nothing because I feel guilty. And I'll come back in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, having done nothing, having done no self-reflection, having just be like, well, I suck. And like, I guess I'm back on track now. And it's like, well, we want to use that period of time somehow to be productive or to move closer to your goals. And so I think that's a big key for you, Megan, and I hope something people can take with them on their journey is like putting aside some time for that self-reflection, looking inwards, being like, why is this happening? And this is something we talk about in coaching, which is why I know like the weekly check-ins and stuff like that. It's like we want to reflect and we want to look and say, hey, what is going well? What isn't working? How can we change things and make it better? And if somebody out there is listening, one of the ways you're going to be the most successful in 2026 is by doing exactly what Megan does is being open to trying shit, God forbid, and like what works and what doesn't work, and then figure it out from there. And I guess that actually, that's one of my questions I put on here anyway. So it's a perfect segue again. Why do you do that, Megan? Why are you so open to just like actually just being okay with trying things, seeing how they go, and then adjusting along the way, whether it's keeping it going or whether changing it?
It's actually funny that I'm open to trying new stuff like in in this part of life because I'm a very picky eater, and if I try new food and don't like it, it will ruin my day. I think especially like in the past, few years when I've like been doing that internal work, I've been doing therapy, I've just been working on myself and healing myself the right way. Um, I'm I think I'm very self-aware and aware of like how I'm feeling and like not even what I'm thinking because what you're thinking is not always true. And then I try to be very transparent with Judy about like what's working or what's not working. And as far as like trying new stuff is you have to keep moving forward. I don't know, this plan may work or may not work, but I'm not going to know if I don't try it. Um, and and one thing I've learned is one day at a time. And then something is always better than nothing. And those are huge for me.
I love that. What I would be remorse if I didn't ask this because I think it can really help people. And again, share as much as you would like or not like. But you talked about kind of like doing the work and kind of like healing, healthy relationship with yourself, with everything in the right way. Because for example, some people will try to do that with alcohol or drugs or spending money they don't have or any vice, right? And so what are some tactical things that you now do? You know, I know you mentioned therapy, but like, is it like certain bedtime routines? Is it certain journaling? Is it certain like things you ask or tell yourself in those times? Like, what are some of those things that you do that have found to be really helpful for you from kind of working on yourself? Because we as coaches, like we say this all the time, yeah, you can have like the workout plan, the macros, but it really comes down to like what's going on in between your ears. And so, how have you been able to work on that and what's been successful?
I think, and this is hard for a lot of people to do. It was hard for me to do, but I think at one point you have to look in the mirror and you have to say, what the heck are you doing? Or you have to ask yourself, like, who do you want to be? And are you acting like that person or are you not? I definitely was, I guess, looking for fulfillment in other places, friendship, drinking, and just, but you really have to ask yourself what you want and who do you want to be. And that's hard. But I do enjoy journaling, um, and reading, and even just taking the time to be completely by yourself and looking looking inside, you're not on your phone, you're not watching TV, you're just spending time with yourself. It sounds
Mhm.
crazy, but now that I say it
You,
out loud.
you know what? But you know what's actually okay. So I love that. Thank you. But you know what's crazy? That's not crazy because of how we live. Maybe 50 years ago, if you would have said that, people would be like, "What the fuck
That's
is this
true.
girl talking about?" But like
Yeah,
in 2026, that's actually the least craziest thing that anybody could say because of we have these constant distractions, and most people are not okay with being just with themselves, like let alone. So I love that you said that, and I think we should do more of that in 2026. And
absolutely.
one thing I want to hit on too is, and I have a question for you, Judy, but you said something there where it's like looking in the mirror, and you're right. This is probably the hardest thing for most people to do is be like, this is nobody else's fault but mine. Like, I'm the one doing this to myself. And there's this saying that's like, whatever you cast blame to or you cast responsibility to is the same thing that has power over you. So if you're blaming circumstances or where you grew up or like whatever and anything, okay, that's what has power over you. But if you're blaming yourself, you have now power over yourself. And so you put yourself back in the driver's seat of like, this is my fault, but I can also change this. And I think that's one of the biggest keys that it sounds like you also kind of realize, which is like, okay, cool, like I'm doing this, but that also means I have the ability to change. And I think that's, clearly you've proven that with your progress and with your actions thus far, which I think is one of the most powerful things. And so I love that. And that kind of, again, I have another kind of series of follow-up questions, and I'll start with you, Judy. Kind of like watching, Megan navigate these situations or these setbacks or failures, right? Because a lot of the clients that we coach, they have failures or setbacks or this didn't work or they're really going through some things mentally, personally, and they just kind of check out. Where it sounds like maybe Megan more so sees these as opportunities to have lessons to be able to be coached through. So like how have you seen her navigate those from like a coach's perspective?
Hmm. So, first of all, whenever there is or was some kind of setback or challenge, she retreats to her chamber and she'll, she'll come back a few days or a few weeks later, and then we talk about it. And then she already, or you, Megan, you already had this moment of looking in the mirror and reflecting and thinking about whatever went on and why potentially something didn't work or there was a setback, or sometimes it's outside forces, right? Stuff happens at work or it's relationships. Like as we coach more than just here's your workout plan and here are your calories, we have very personal conversations. And I specifically remember one conversation we had this summer. I don't know if you probably remember too.
I don't know where this is going.
There's too many options.
It's true.
Um, yeah, what I do with Megan a lot is I'll go on my little walks and I'll send her a voice note. And it started to rain. And I was standing under this tree and there was rain, but there was also a rainbow. And I was just telling Megan, like, oh, there's a rainbow and I can't really go home because it's raining and I don't want to be wet, but there's a rainbow and that's kind of pretty. And rainbows remind me of my brother. And Megan took it and she made it this whole like metaphor for how sometimes it rains, but there's going to be a rainbow. So that means there's going to be something pretty and there's going to be something good. And I feel like
Hmm.
that is who Megan is. Funny enough, that same day she had changed her phone wallpaper to a rainbow before I even told her about the rainbow. So, but
Whoa.
Yeah.
yeah, that was kind of scary. But that is how connected Megan and I are. That
Yeah, I can
also
tell.
that is, I think, who Megan is seeing there's a setback, but something good is gonna come out of it, much like we talked about earlier, is there's gonna be something positive, and we're just gonna need to find it and we're gonna look wherever, right? And we're going to find it, and it's gonna take a week or it's gonna take a month, but we're going to find whatever is positive about this setback or this failure or whatever you want to call it. And that's what you've always done, Megan, is you see like, okay, this happened, that kind of sucked, and now we're doing this to address it and to find the positive or to find any way to get out of whatever happened.
Mhm. That's a crazy story. Wow. That's super cool. Megan, have you always been like that?
Like, look, I guess being able to turn things into positive things. I think I've always tried to be positive and like to others and encourage others. But I haven't always been able to do that for myself. And really, it wasn't until that really crappy thing happened to me in 2020, where even, that was the worst day of my life thus far. Even, in hindsight, I was able to take away some things from that. And I was like, well, that sucked. And that was really freaking hard, but it brought my mom and I closer together. Or because of that, this happened. I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And that was also a hard lesson to learn for me. Um, and I do believe you can, however dark it gets or however dark it is, there's some light in there if you look for it.
Mhm. That's incredible. And then it brings me to my next question. So we've talked about like kind of like reflecting, like looking back and being like, okay, well, something's good's going to happen. But I don't know if people talk enough about, like, you've talked about some pretty shitty things that have happened to you and pretty heavy and dark and whatever adjectives you would like to throw in there. But how how do you, aside from reflecting after the fact, how do you manage to show up for yourself in the context of the gym or your nutrition when you have these days and maybe these feelings, because I'm sure they don't just go away, right? How do you manage to continue to show up for yourself for the things that you need to do, even on those days that feel the heaviest or the most anxiety producing or the most grief? Like, what do you do? And again, is it things you tell yourself? Is it actions that you do? Is it routines you have? Like, what are you able to do to get you through those days?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Um, so even when I first joined the clubhouse, I wasn't, I don't know. It took me, I guess it took some time for things to really click or for the light bulb to go off. Because I really think I was allowing myself to get overwhelmed by the big picture of it all. And it's only been pretty recently where I had that realization or mindset change. And even on the crappy days, the days that you're talking about, you're depressed or you're anxious or this is going on, you do have to take it one day at a time. Um, but you have to be nice to yourself because you're doing the best you can. And your best looks different every day, and that's okay. Like if I have a bad day like that, all right, well, I might not make it to the gym, but let's go outside. Let's go outside today and walk for 10 minutes. Or like, I haven't ate anything today. I should probably eat and just, I guess almost forcing yourself to do those small actions that will help you feel better.
Mhm.
Hmm. You can go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, I have my little to-do lists here, and one thing on my to-do lists is share Megan's game plans with everyone. And it's been on my
I
to-do list
love
forever, so I'm
that.
just gonna do it on the podcast.
There we go. Let's do
Sounds
it.
great.
One thing that we do, um, Megan and I, is we have come up, or she has come up with three different game plans. We call them SOS game plans where where Megan, you categorize like a very good week, a busy work week, and I think a bad mental health week. And we like literally written out, probably on your phone as well, because you keep everything on your phone as like wallpapers or notes, saying, this is what I can do on a really good day or in a really good week. This is what I can do in a very busy week. And this is what I can do when everything is like hell. And there's always something, right? Like you just said, there's always something. I can go for a walk outside. I can eat a banana. I can drink water. There's something you can do. And like I said earlier, we tried different approaches, we tried challenges, we tried going all in. But it seems to me like these different kinds of like tiered days almost made the most sense so far, knowing that it's one day at a time. And there's always something. Like there's a minimum speed, like Eric would say. We write down the things we can do even on our hardest days. And those are gonna get done. And like you said, forcing yourself to actually do them and coming up with these different plans. And ever since we've done that together, I do that with other clients as well. And everyone kind of comes up with their own game plans for different weeks. And it's been really helpful because realistically, not every week and not every day is going to look the same. And then also the second thing I think you do very well and can help a lot of other people is you don't just look in the mirror and look at yourself and kind of ask yourself and tell yourself like, hey, get your shit together. If you notice that that's not working anymore, you use me as your mirror and you're like, okay, Judy, this is what happened. Here's a voice note, or we hop on a call, or here's a seven long messages. And I'm gonna go over them and I'm gonna be that mirror. And something that I noticed is, at least from what I know about you, is you never lie to yourself. So whenever I tell you like, hey, Megan, what you just said here, this happened then and then and then, and these other three times, you gotta stop doing that. And you will never feel attacked or like feel offended that I said that. You're like, yeah, you're right, Judy. I'm going to change that. And then you change it as much as you can, one day at a time and one step at a time. And sometimes we make progress and then sometimes we don't. And then we make progress again, right? But you're never like, Judy sucks. She's being mean to me, or but I don't even know what she means. I didn't do anything wrong. You would never lie to yourself like that. You would always you take what you see in the mirror and you take what I tell you and you're like, yeah, you're right. Let's change it.
Hmm. Man, number one, Megan, you're like this is incredible stuff. So like, thank you for coming on the podcast already, and thank you for sharing all of this. It's I wrote down a couple of things which I really hope will help people who listen to this. You mentioned some days your best looks different, and I've talked about this concept before in the podcast. Like, if you got 100% to give, it's like okay, then like on that day, 100% is your best. But if all you got to give that day is 50%, then 50% is your best. So that's actually 100% of what you're able to give. And I think that concept is really big. And as you guys were talking, um, for whatever reason, this is the analogy that was coming to my head. Like the different game plans, I am I'm almost thinking of it as like you would wear different outfits to different events. Like if you're just going to the grocery store, it's like, I don't know, wear sweats and your clubhouse gear. Yay. Like that's fine. That's okay. If you're going to a nice steak restaurant, you probably wear a different outfit. If you're going to the Galleria or whatever fashion shows people do, I have no clue. But like you're gonna wear, I don't know, some sort of dress or some sort of suit, right? And it's like you have these different outfits for these different scenarios, and so, like, just choose your outfit for the scenario that's there. If it's a shit day and everything goes to shit, like there's your outfit, there's your game plan for that. If you have a medium day, cool, that's like your outfit, your game plan for that. The best day, you have an outfit for that. So I think it's especially heading into the new year, I think it's really important for people to hopefully hear and understand. Like, it's you don't just wear the same outfit every single day. Like a different environment calls for a different dress code if that helps people kind of think of it like that. So I'm so happy that you said that, Megan. And again, I don't know how you continue to come up with this. You and Judy are just like, this is fucking awesome coaching here. Like I want to say praise to you, Megan, because it really like this is the kind of stuff that actually changes your life. I don't even know if you realize that, but like this is the stuff that actually changes your life, man. So all credit and all kudos goes to you and Judy on that.
Hmm.
Judy's a great mirror.
I mean, you always look nice if you look
Yeah.
in the mirror.
I love that.
But really, like on
Yeah,
a
go ahead,
check-in,
please.
she'll be like, "What the F is wrong with you?" And I'll be like, "I know."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's so okay, kind of goes into my next question. Again, Judy and I were just kind of chatting briefly back and forth before the podcast today, and she mentioned you have improved at something that most people struggle with for their entire life, which is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries with yourself, setting boundaries with others. If you can, just maybe talk a little bit about what that process has been like for you personally. Because I know people they're people pleasers. They want to make everybody happy. They don't want to rock the boat. Like, what does that process looked like for you for setting boundaries for the new Megan that wants to evolve?
Absolutely. I have been, or I guess I'm a huge former people pleaser. Um, and Judy asked us to do this recap, and that was one of the biggest things that I mentioned. It wasn't about I've lost this much weight or I've dropped this many sizes. I told Judy, I said I started saying yes to things that made my heart happy and no to things that didn't. I mean, you, Eric's got to look out for Eric. Nobody else is going to. Um, it, you've really got to, in different situations, like, okay, I'm hanging out with these people every week. How do I feel after I hang out with them? They're living this kind of life. Do I want to live that kind of life? Um, Sorry, I had to think back to the question.
You're good.
But it's just, it kind of goes back to looking in the mirror. Like, is this who I want to be? Is this what I want to do? And it's very easy to get caught up in other people's lives and what other people are doing. And then you're exhausted, you're insecure, you're unhappy. And then you're like, well, heck, when did I say yes to this? But you've got to tell yourself yes, even if it means telling other people no.
Was that hard at first for you?
For sure. 'Cause just just like over even the past year or two, but of course the past several years, you're you're always changing. And if you're not, then you're stagnant. You should be always changing. So I've gained friendships, I've lost friends. And in the moment that is hard. Um, and you don't have to explain yourself to anybody though, but you do have to like, okay, I'm setting this boundary. Why? Um, but you've got to do it for you.
Hmm. And you were starting to hit on something there, which I thought was great, which is kind of like, okay, I'm interacting with these people. I'm hanging out with these people. Like I will take myself as the example. You know who I interact with on a daily basis, every day, all day, 365? Judy and all of our other coaches and all of our clients. That's a pretty good fucking group around me. It's like, so it's to me, it's no surprise as to why I feel like I level up in life all the time and evolve and grow. It's because like, look who's around me. Like they're fucking killers, they're savages. They're incredible people who are motivated, who want to push each other, who want the best for each other. And I think that's like maybe some of the friends, and really I just say like acquaintances, people you grew up with, people who you hung around because you really had no other choice. Like it just is what it is. But like these people who you may lose, then you gain people like Judy. Like you joked about like the mirror, but really like if you talk to Judy multiple times a week, anybody, you're going to become a better fucking person. I can goddamn assure you of that. But it's like Megan, you have to take the first step to say, I'm going to put myself in this position to talk to Judy every single week and to change who I hang around and to start to set boundaries for myself. So I love that you started to hit on that because I think that's so huge. And I just want to say, number one, kudos to you for putting yourself in that position because there's no other way that would happen. And number two, I really hope people can take that and implement it into their life in 2026. And I want to kind of ask you on a similar note, Judy, as you started to see Megan start to set these boundaries for herself and start to prioritize, like, God forbid, her own happiness first and what she wanted for her life first, which is a crazy concept that we have to like actively try to do that. But like, how did you start to see her evolve and grow?
Well, first of all, that is it's that is like an inspiration for me because I I don't struggle with setting boundaries. Like I have a very good friend. She always says, "You're so unapologetically yourself. I want to be like you." But when I look at myself, I'm like, I should really be better at setting boundaries. And I should really try to not be a recovering people pleaser. And like, we're always critical with ourselves. And I always tell my clients and I tell Megan, like, do what I say, not what I do. And when I see Megan do this and tell me like I set this boundary today, and I set this boundary with myself and with my partner or with my friends and family or coworkers, or even I feel like we had this breakthrough of Megan had a situation in her like personal life and she set that one boundary and that kind of spiraled into seven other boundaries and almost like empowered her noticing, okay, I did this once. It was very uncomfortable. I got really upset. It was uncomfortable. I had this whole like almost grief that you have when you part ways with someone. They like you can experience grief even if nobody has died, but experiencing grief of, and we talk about grief a lot, is ending relationships, whether it be friendships or partners, but ending one relationship and noticing, okay, this sucks. There's grief. I'm sad. I'm upset. I don't know why this happened, but I can't be in this particular circle anymore. And I'm taking myself out of it. And noticing that after a while, there's relief there as well. So it hurts, but then there's relief and it gets better. And you realize that was a good decision that I made because I chose myself. And then um that kind of spiraled into I'm setting a boundary at work. I'm working too much and I need to do less because I need more time for myself and I need time for my health and fitness and I need time for journaling or taking a walk or whatnot. It doesn't matter what you use the time for, but then going to your workplace or going to family members and saying, hey, we can't continue like this. And I felt like Megan was really, you were really empowered by doing it once, seeing that yes, there's grief and pain, but then there's relief, and then doing it again, and then doing it again. And the outcome is always the same. There's always going to be that relief, and there's always going to be the realization that yes, this was a good choice because I chose myself and I feel better now. Because our brains just work like that, right? They want that situation that is familiar. The brain wants what it already knows, even if it's toxic or painful or dis destructive. It just wants what it already knows. And it's very hard to get out of there. But once we do get out of there, we notice, oh, that was actually a very good thing to do. And I felt like you just had to do it in that one situation and then do it again, like rep after rep after rep, another rep, and doing it again and again and again until your brain knows, yes, it's gonna suck, but then it's gonna be better. And I feel like this is gonna be with you for the rest of your life. You're just gonna forever know if I set a boundary and I choose myself, I'm gonna feel better eventually.
Yeah. It's funny you were mentioning reps because what I wrote down was so I never forget this because it's the same every single time, and this will happen to some people at the retreat, which I have a question for you about Megan in a second. But when somebody's never barbell deadlifted for the first time, because as a coach, it happens every time. They go to deadlift and they're like, is my form going to be right? Am I going to hurt my back? Am I going to be able to lift this thing off the ground? And they go and they do like 3, 4, 5 reps. And like instantly you see their face and their body almost like change in an instant. Like, oh, I can do this? Yeah, put on more weight. Let's go. But it's like, you got to get through that initial uncomfortable, scary, is this going to be a bad outcome? But then once you do, like Judy was saying, your brain gets that positive reinforcement. And like that's also, again, it's like what our brain wants is we want that like positive reinforcement, right? But it's not just about the boundary or the learning how to deadlift. It's in general, your brain learns if something is scary or I'm anxious about it, that's actually a good thing now because on the other side of that, there's going to be relief and positivity and benefits to my life. So that's how you can then take this and implement this into any area of your life. But again, it requires you to move first. It requires you to just get through that first period of time. And you've done that multiple times now, Megan, which is why you're able to continue to build the person that you are building. And I just hope again people are listening and kind of taking these chunks of like amazing things that you're sharing with us and hopefully implementing it into 2026 to make incredible progress. And maybe that's, my second to last question, which is, you know, I think you're proof, Megan, that challenges continue to shape us and they build us, and you can still keep your joy and you can still keep the fulfillment and accomplishment. So I guess I'll ask like now, and you mentioned this, like you did some reflection and you were like, well, I didn't even write down like how much weight I lost, which I didn't even ask Judy how much weight you lost because I know this podcast was going to be much more than just that. But what does progress mean to you now compared to maybe what you thought it meant when you first started?
It's a good question. And I was thinking about this morning because I weighed myself this morning. Um, it's so easy to get caught up in the numbers, whether it be your measurements or whether it be the scale. Um, and lately the scale's not moving or it's moving up. And I think I had a little freak out about that, but I had to remind myself I'm in the gym. I feel good. I feel good at the gym. I'm liking the way that my clothes are fitting. And then I was like in the mirror and I was like, I have triceps.
Whoa, geez.
No.
Let's
Um,
go.
so, you just have forget about the numbers, all of them, and just, how am I feeling today? How do, my energy's better. And when I'm in when I feel good going to the gym and I feel strong in the gym. And that's huge. That's progress to me.
Mhm. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, I have a question for you, Judy, and then I'll ask you, Megan. Judy first. What is your favorite part about the clubhouse retreat?
I want to say hear Eric perform a Drake song karaoke. But
That happens a lot.
it's also having a lot of gelato at Anita's. But I no, my favorite part is secretly adding weight to people's barbells, not telling them, then have them lift that weight and then telling them they did that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess I should not have said that on the podcast because
I
now it's not
know.
a secret
No, I
anymore, but
know.
it's going to happen. People are still going to be fooled by me. So
Yes,
I look
let's
forward
go.
to it because seeing those faces, um, first of all, seeing familiar faces because it's the third Clubhouse retreat, and I look forward to seeing everyone who's been there before, but also people I haven't yet met and I'm excited to meet, but also seeing people's faces after I tell them you actually just lifted
Mhm.
that amount. And like you just said, them being like, what? What did I do? I very much look forward to see Megan deadlifting and benching.
Yeah, let's go. I'll
Let's
cut
do it.
that. I'll cut that part out, Judy. Be like, I like having, and I'll just cut the part out so no one knows. They still can't expect it. That's awesome, Megan. How excited or nervous are you to go to the clubhouse retreat?
I'm terrified of flying, but I have a plane ticket. Um, I don't have a rental car yet, but you guys know Rebecca. Um, I'm in Rome, Georgia. Rebecca's in Lawrenceville. So I booked the same flight as her. So I have a flying buddy.
Let's go.
Um, I'm super excited. I already told Judy, I'm like pretty sure I'm gonna cry when I get to hug you.
Let's go.
Um,
Well, Eric, what happened when I first met you?
Judy can tell that story if she would like. Yep.
I've that first Clubhouse retreat ruined me. Because it was back then it was only 2 days and now it's three, and
Yep.
It was 2 days. So first day was meeting everyone and crying all day. Um, second day was like other people joining, so crying again. And then the end of the second day was like crying because everyone's leaving. So
Right.
that that
But it's actually really fun, guys. Like, trust
no,
me.
that was
Yeah,
happy and emotional
of
and
course.
yeah, happy tears because
Yeah.
you come to a place where you feel like you're coming home and you know everyone and you're meeting family members, even though they're people you might not have met in person yet. And me, I was on a continent I had never been to before, in a city I had never been to before, and I still felt like I was coming home. So that was good. It was happy tears.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Megan. So there you go. If you do, trust me, it's quite normal. So it's all good. But dude, we're super excited to have you there. It's just an incredible time. There's so many, like Judy said, it's really the people that make that thing so freaking awesome. Just like being able to just like be yourself and just like hang out with people who have like we've been talking about like friendships and relationships and so on and so forth. And it's like so many people have built lifelong, forever, real relationships from 2 days at the clubhouse retreat. Cause it's just like you just link up with people who are on the same wavelength as you, who want the same things as you. And I just especially I feel like in a fitness world, like not that many people like most people just want to go out and drink on the weekends and just like it's like no, I don't want to do that. Like I want other
Yep.
things. And so, I think you're going to meet so many people there who are just like you and just want to crush life just like you do. So I'm really excited for you to do that.
I'm so excited, and I'm not nervous at all about the retreat. But I try not to think about the plane too much, or I'll cancel my ticket and drive because I don't need to
Don't
drive. That's a crazy drive.
don't drive. Don't do that. No, 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 no. It's gonna
Um,
be cool.
I have a countdown on my phone, 77 days.
77 days. Let's go. I fucking
You
love that.
you should be nervous about those lag days though.
Yeah.
Don't tell me
Yeah.
that.
And also, spoiler alert, 100% of Clubhouse retreats, Mr. Roberts cried also. So
Okay, okay, okay. Well, I'm definitely cutting that out.
I love that.
It's an amazing time. What can I say? I'm very grateful. So Megan, listen, dude, this has been. There's no better way I would have wanted to start my 2026 than chatting with you and Judy today. So truly, thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing some of the insights. And again, I just want to give. I mean, all of the praise and all of the kudos and all of the credit and all of your flowers that you deserve. Because, like, people often ask me, like, oh, who inspires you? I'm like, it's people like you. Like, you actually have changed and continue to change your life. Like, you didn't just think about it. You didn't just like wish upon a star and want it. Like, you're out here doing the work every single day. And that's just something I think should be celebrated. And I hope people continue to take into 2026. And so I'm incredibly thankful for you, Megan. Super stoked you came on the podcast today. Any last words you would like to say as well, Mrs. Judy?
well, I guess we checked off one goal of your 2026 goals
We
because Megan
did.
came to me and said, I said, Megan, what are your goals for 2026? And she said, well, this and this and this, and I want to be on Eric's podcast. And I said, how about January 1st?
Start the year with a win. Let's go.
Well, thank you, Megan. I love you.
I love y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Of course, Megan. We love you back, dude. And seriously, just truly I know this podcast is, I mean, I thought this was an incredible podcast. So thank you both for just like showing up and making it so great. I know it's going to help a lot of people, which is, as I'm sure people know by now, this is the whole reason why I do this in the first place. And so just thank you for taking the time out of your day, Megan. I hope you have a great rest of the start of your 2026. Super fucking stoked to see you at the retreat. The plane ride's going to be great. Don't worry. I'll make sure you can like just FaceTime me during it, Megan. Like I'll be in Miami already, like getting ready. Like Eric,
Right.
we need to face like Judy, Eric, FaceTime now. Like, okay, we got you, man. So yeah, we got you back, Megan. We're excited to see you crush it. And dude, just keep being a savage. Okay.
Thanks, y'all.
You got it, man. Have a great day, ladies.
Y'all too. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.